Hello, lovely students. Welcome to Tuesday. It's still Tuesday, right? Okay, let's talk about where we were last week and where we're headed this week. Last week, you submitted your first draft of your lit review to the peer review process. So a couple of things about that. There's been a little bit of confusion about the groups. The people in your peer review group are most likely not in your research group. That was done on purpose because I don't want you to be reading something that you already know a lot about. So if for some reason there are two group members in one of these peer review groups, it's totally fine. But for the most part, you have entirely new groups. So that is the biggest thing that we had to do last week. I know there was some confusion about the date that needed to be posted. As long as it was posted by Friday evening, you're good to go. And as a group, you need to start deciding who is going to grade whose paper, who's going to put comments on it and split it up. Remember, every paper in the group needs to have at least 2 reviews. 2 different people need to review that. In most cases, that works out so everyone reviews 2 papers, but just some people may review 3. Everyone needs to review at least 2 papers, and every paper needs to be reviewed at least twice. So let me know if you have any questions about that. If you have someone on there who is assigned to your group but didn't have a posting, please let me know, and we will take them out of that rotation. But as a group, you're going to decide how that is going to work out, which papers you're going to assign to each person. That's up to you as a group. So let me know if I can help, but I'm sure that you can handle that pretty well. Okay, the other thing that we did last week was the IRB application. The IRB application, as you noticed, is probably very similar to the pre-IRB application. It seems kind of like, why are we doing this twice? Well, the reason we're doing it twice is that we want to get all your ducks in the row for the IRB application. So here's something important. You should have submitted your IRB application no later than Saturday. Sorry, I have a calendar on my desk. No later than Saturday. If you did submit it on Saturday, you should start receiving responses back from the IRB today. They say it takes them 3 to 5 business days. We usually see a slightly faster turnaround. You will receive approval from the IRB or rejection. If you receive approval, it will typically come from someone named Brother Sid Palmer. It will say, congratulations, your study has been approved. You are free to begin. Something to that effect. If there is something that needs to be fixed, it will say, I'm so sorry, your study has been rejected. You need to fix the following items. Okay. Let's say your study is approved. As soon as the study is approved, you are welcome. Please do this. You are welcome to send that survey out into whatever you have decided you're going to send it out into, email, social media, whatever. You're welcome to send that out and start collecting responses. You will receive the vast majority of your responses within the first 48 to 72 hours. Probably closer on the 48-hour mark, because we've all used social media. If that's where you're posting it, you know things start to lose relevancy over time. The same thing is true for email. I don't know how many emails you get a day, but I get a lot of emails. So if I'm going back, if I'm scrolling through my inbox and I have something, if today's Tuesday that's left over from Sunday, I'm probably not going to get to it for a while because I have already just moved on to the next thing. So that's the same thing that's going to happen with your potential respondents. Remember that. So for the first 48 to 72 hours, you're going to see a very sharp increase in the number of people responding to your survey. Typically, we see 80 to 90% of the total responses you receive come in during that period. You'll see a sharp decline, wait 2 or 3 days, and then post it again, email it out again, just make it relevant. You've seen this on social media. So there's something that is all over for a couple days, it dies down, new posts come up, it comes back around. That's essentially what we need you to do. If your survey is rejected, but if your study, it's going to be because of the survey, is rejected by the IRB, you need to let me know immediately, because that means we need to start making revisions to the survey. In a lot of cases, the IRB will say the following questions need to be revised and they'll mark them. But if not, let me know and we will go through that revision process. Most students don't have to do this, so I don't anticipate this happening to a lot of you. But if it does, let me know. I am here to help you. I'm here to help you get through this. I want to make sure that we do it in a timely fashion. So if you have not heard back from the IRB by Thursday, please let me know. We need to follow up and find out what happened to your study. Remember that they're receiving, I believe, 9 submissions from my class, 9 to 15 submissions from every other 391 class, plus all the on-campus stuff, plus whatever other classes throughout the university that are doing these studies or studies that need to go through the IRB. So if you haven't heard back, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've been rejected. In all likelihood, it means that your email got lost in the shuffle. So we just need to find it, keep it relevant to them. So let me know if Thursday rolls around and you haven't heard from them. You are not allowed to post anything, send anything out until you've been approved by the IRB. If for some reason you do send it out early, we have some issues that we need to take care of. So please don't do that. Please don't do that. But I think the course was fairly clear about that. Please, please, please don't send it out before you receive approval from the IRB. Once you have approval from the IRB, you're good to go. You don't have to wait for anything else from me. So let's talk a little bit about those peer reviews that you're doing this week. Okay, we talked about it last week in a lot of depth, but the peer review is for both you and the person that you're grading. One way for you to see flaws in your own work is to critique someone else's. And the reason for that is they're going to have a lot of the same issues that you have, and it's a lot easier to recognize those things in a non-defensive way when you're critiquing someone else. It's going to start to process like, oh, I think I do that. Okay, I need to go through and fix that. Or it will just make you more aware of things that you like or don't like in another person's paper. So that's the benefit to you. The benefit to the other person is that you are providing them feedback. I have a lot of people ask, Sister Zucker, should I incorporate the feedback from my group members or should I just wait for what you have to say? You should most definitely incorporate the feedback from your group members. I would say 99% of the feedback you receive from this peer review is good feedback. Most people are going to provide you with really useful suggestions for improving your work. Now, there's a couple things that might come through as wonky. If it seems weird, just don't do it. Just don't do it. That is my advice. If it seems weird, just don't do it. But for the vast majority of you, this advice is going to be really good. Just make sure that when you are the person giving the advice, that you give good advice. Like I said last week, take 20 minutes per review that you're doing. So 40 minutes total, go through and read it. It should not take you 20 minutes to read this paper. Mark it as you go. When I grade your papers, I have, I'm sorry, I have Canvas open and it allows me to put little markers within the paper. I'm sure that you've noticed that on some of your assignments. It has little markers within the paper. Do that. If you make a comment and it's addressed later, you can always go back through and delete it. I don't want you to spend hours on this. I'm telling you, 20 minutes tops per paper. If you're spending longer than that, it's not a useful way to spend your time, and it's not really providing them more meaningful feedback. So 20 minutes total, 20 minutes per paper, 40 minutes total for doing this. But make your comments as you go. If you make your comments through the paper as you go, you have a much easier time filling the rubric out at the end. When I grade your papers, I always do the comments first and the rubric second if I am making comments in a paper, because if my comments are detailed enough, I know I can go back into the rubric. That being said, I always have the rubric up on my screen. I actually have 2 screens. So I always have the rubric up on one screen, your paper up on the other screen as I go through. If you want to do that, that would be awesome. You can split your screen, but make sure that you know what the rubric is saying. Not the rubric for the assignment, but the rubric that you need to fill out. Make sure you know what that is saying and have the paper next to it so you can make comparisons. If you get too far from the rubric or the grading sheet that you have for your peers, it starts to get confusing, and then you're trying to use your own judgment. And trust me, I have graded a lot of papers, and as soon as you just start to go down that path, it does not go well. Remember that rubric that you are using is very similar to the rubric that I will use when I grade your peer reviews on the 7th. It addresses a lot of the same things. The one I use is a more collapsed version because I have a different idea of what I am looking for, but it is many of those same things. So please use that rubric. Please make comments as you go. Trust me, it will make your life easier. 20 minutes per paper tops. Do it. I know it seems crazy, but one of the things that we talk about at the Online Instructors Conference every year is how much time you need to dedicate to each paper. If you knew how much time your instructors were dedicating to grading each paper, you would be somewhat appalled. But the reason that that time limit needs to be somewhat shorter is because it makes you efficient. It makes you look for those items that you need. That is what I want you to do. I don't need you to memorize it. I need you to do more than skim, but look at that rubric. You are looking for very, very specific things. The things that are marked in that rubric, if those are marked and you did those well, there is a very high probability that the overall quality of the paper was done well. And so it's just a little insight into how your instructors are grading, but that's basically how we do it. So good luck being a teacher this week. Okay, so now let's talk about JASP. I have received a couple of comments about JASP questions. If you are having a problem downloading JASP, let me know. So someone was unable to download it because their Mac computer said that there was malicious spyware. I feel like I'm saying that wrong, in the program. I don't think that there is. I also have an Apple. I was able to download it. I didn't receive any comments. I did receive something that said to the effect of applications downloaded from the internet may include malicious spyware. Do you want to proceed? And then I clicked yes, and it was fine. But I believe this program is safe. If you are receiving an error message, clear your cache and cookies, download it again. You may want to consider downloading it on another computer or device. If you cannot do that, try another browser. I think it should be okay. I was able to do it again. It seems fine. I will see if I can download it on my iPad, and maybe I'll get that same error. But I think that most of you should be fine. If you have not downloaded JASP yet, please stop what you are doing. Pause this video. Please download JASP. Please, because it is due next week, and if you do not download it now, you will inevitably run into problems. And then I will not be able to help you on the 7th because you will be emailing me at 9 o'clock Mountain Time trying to get something fixed, and it will be 11 o'clock Eastern Time, and I would have been asleep already. So I'm just saying, I'm in Georgia, you're not. There's a time difference. I don't stay awake until 11 o'clock Mountain Time. So if we're approaching 10:30, 11, and you're really struggling with just JASP assignment to get it in, I would love to help you, but I will not be awake to do that. So please don't do that. Also, this JASP assignment is going to take you a little bit of time. So please make sure that you allow some time for that. Your final lit review is due on the 7th as well. And that is going to take you quite a lot of time to incorporate this feedback from your peers. So my recommendation is that you get the peer review done early this week, work on the JASP assignment the second half of the week, and then give yourself all that time next week to finish up your lit review. I put some information in the class announcements. Let me see if I can tell you the exact date those announcements were posted. That will help you with the JASP assignment. It was posted on February 18th at 7:12 p.m. and it is labeled JASP Help. Okay, this JASP Help has some really good information for you. The first video is going to take you through that JASP Prepare assignment. That assignment is not something that you will turn in, but it helps you understand how to set everything up in JASP. So that first video, it has a purple screen, is to help you with that. The second video, it has a green screen. It is called Week 9 Paper JASP and Data Analysis. That will take you step by step through that assignment. I believe the video is maybe 20 minutes. And it should take you pretty much through the whole thing. The last thing at the very bottom is a link, and it is labeled Week 9 Paper Jasmine Data Analysis Example. If you were to click it, it will take you to a Google Doc. I think it actually is a PDF. It will take you to a PDF sample of what the assignment needs to look like. It goes through all the various research questions. It includes the tables that need to be there. They are labeled in proper APA format. This is what I want your assignment to look like. So you have been fairly warned since the 18th. This is what it needs to look like. You'll see as you go through that there are sections in this paper that say things like insert results, and my actual numbers are X'd out, but you get an idea of what this needs to look like. So here's the thing. I understand that the vast majority of you are going to use what I posted as a template. That is fine. Make sure that you fill in the X's with actual numbers, but also remember that you need to change some of the language. Yes, the template should stand. Yes, there should be a descriptive statistics section. These tables will be the same. The table titles will probably be the same, but the specific verbiage. So for example, under research question 1, you include research question 1, and then there is a paragraph under it that starts with, there is a blank between sugar consumption and the number of decayed, missing, or filled teeth. Then the information is included. Based on this information, countries with lower levels of sugar consumption should also have lower levels of decayed, missing, or filled teeth. However, the correlation between these variables, insert finding, the average number of decayed, missing, or filled teeth in the sample was blah, blah. Okay. I know how I write, and I know how you write because I have read a lot of what you write. If your paper comes back sounding like I wrote it, I will know. I will be reading your paper like I read all of your things, and I will know. So make sure that you have the information that's included in this template, but make sure that it sounds like you wrote it. As the semester progresses, your writing will line better with mine. You are having a lot more practice with scientific writing. Scientific writing is boring. I know that it's boring. I know that there's a very specific format and verbiage that we tend to use. So I do know that we're moving along that spectrum. However, I also know when you just take what I wrote and insert your numbers into it. So make sure that it's okay that it sounds almost the same, but you will use different words than I do just because you are a different person. So make sure that this sounds like Sally Sue wrote it and not Ashley Suker wrote it. Especially there are a couple of sentences included in this that are worded poorly. And that is done for a reason, because it is very easy to go through as I grade it and pick out those sentences that are not good and to know where plagiarism is occurring. So I just want to let you to know that that is included in that. So use what I posted as a template, but don't borrow every single word. Reword it a little bit, partially because we don't want to run into plagiarism issues, and partially because writing it like this is useful for you to know how to do it. I know how to do it, but you have the opportunity to learn, and I really want you to have that opportunity. If you have any questions and you need to look at it in advance, I'm happy to do so. So please do that. Our second personal application check will begin on Saturday. So please make sure that you have something posted this week for your personal application check. I will be checking for posts between the 23rd of February and the 29th of February, sometime next week. If you do not have a post, then I will send you an email and let you know that you did not receive points for that. If you don't hear from me, assume that you did a great job. Silence is great, right? But if you have any questions about that, let me know. Remember, with those personal application assignments, go through that rubric and take a look. You need 3 posts from every category. So you're going to need 3 job postings. Remember, you need to talk about the relevance, how that's related to this course, your career goals, etc. You need 3 case study posts, and then 3 choose your own adventure. So these tend to be more spiritually related posts. And then 3 just pick a couple from each of those categories, but you need at least 3 of each category to fulfill the points for 12 total posts. So that's where that extra 3 comes in. If you do all case studies, if you do 12 case studies and they're awesome, I'm really excited for you, but that doesn't fulfill the requirements of the rubric. So just take a quick look at that rubric and make sure that you're on the right track, because we are early enough in the semester that if you've done all case studies, all job postings at this point, you can go back and finish out with the rest of the semester and get full points. My goal is that everyone receives full points on this personal application assignment. The goal is to kind of keep public health in the forefront of your mind on a daily basis and see how public health can interact with other areas of your life. So I want you to all receive full points, and the best way to do that is just make sure that we follow that rubric. If you have any questions, let me know. I do have to apologize. I have been a little bit slower about getting back to you on email during the day. I manage my county health department, so I am there typically between 9 and 7 on Mondays and 9 and 2 on all the, or 9 and 3 on all the other days of the week. And so as I'm going back and forth between meetings, driving to different community partners, things like that, some of your emails may get missed. I may not be able to get back to them until the evening. I try and answer all emails starting about 8:15 Eastern time, so 6:15 Mountain time, and that's when I really try and get back to work. I probably, if you haven't heard from me by 2 o'clock Eastern time, 3 o'clock Eastern time for sure, you won't hear from me until after that, because all 3 of my kids will be home and we like to do all the sporting activities and drive to all the places. So just sit tight. If it's been a couple days and you haven't received something back and you are waiting for a response, you're not just telling me something that doesn't require a response back, then go ahead and send another email. I will not be offended. Please also feel free to send me a text message if you feel like you need a slightly faster response. My cell phone number is 972-955-5320. I'm happy to receive text messages. Just make sure you tell me who you are, because sometimes you don't and I don't know who you are. So have a great week.